Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
You don't bring families back with their kids and their loved ones and then tell them to scrub with Dawn?
Right now in GMSA, families in Ohio are still dealing with fallout from a toxic train crash 2 weeks ago. Why CDC teams are just now deploying to that region.
Back here at home, we have learned a man has died after a shooting overnight in northeast Bexar County. What else we've been able to learn in just moments.
And it's cold outside this morning, not quite as breezy, but nonetheless, we do still have a breeze. We'll check and see if there are any wind chills in effect right now. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is currently February 17th. Yes, for some reason, my brain defaulted to December. I don't know why.
Did you put that in there?
Because it feels like December.
It's in there.
Oh, it is in there. That's why I saw it. I did see it.
No, February.
That's called producer making sure we're awake.
Yes.
And we're not. But Mike Osterhage is here now to talk more about how chilly it is this morning.
Well, it feels like December. Nothing then sure doesn't feel like February out there. So yeah.
That's the redemption. It does feel like December 17th.
There, you owe me one for that one. Anyway, yeah, we've got still a pretty good breeze out there. Skies cleared out overnight. It stayed chilly all day yesterday. And right now we have temperatures that are in the 30s. A couple of freezing readings out there in parts of the hill country, 33 in Comfort, 38 out there at the airport, and right now Rio Medina at 36. But the wind is out of the north. 10, 15 miles per hour. We still have some pretty good gusts, 24 at Bernie Stage, 23 out there at the airport, and 28 in New Braunfels. So the wind chill temperatures, 30 in town, 24 Kerrville, 22 right now in Los Maples, and it feels like 31 at both Canyon Lake as well as New Braunfels. So what the wind does, and it was explained to me one time years ago, it's like chocolate milk. If you keep it stirred up, it all stays together. If you don't stir it up, then the heavier little particles sink down at the bottom of the glass. That's the situation going on right now, where the wind is stirring up the atmosphere, so the coldest air is not settling down. So we won't, thermometer-wise, get down to 32 degrees, but obviously it feels like that. So no matter how you slice it, it's really cold out there. Mold, ash, and mulberry are all on the light side. So temperature this morning, I think we bottom out at 35, but again, wind chill temperatures down in the low 30s, in the 20s around the area, because it's going to stay windy over the next few hours. Then the wind is going to ease somewhat. We'll only be at 55. Still plenty of sunshine, some of those high clouds out there. Cold start to the weekend, need a jacket, and then find your flip-flops, because big warm-up coming up over the next few days. Details on that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Steph, Mark.
Mike, thank you. New this morning, a 30-year-old man has died after he was shot in the chest on San Antonio's northeast side. Bexar County deputies were sent to the 7,000 block of Winsford Drive off Walsham Road around 8:30 last night after a caller heard 3 gunshots. Once deputies arrived, the man was found unresponsive and taken to a medical center hospital. Details on the suspect or what led to the shooting are unknown at this time. We'll bring you more updates as they become available. Topping morning headlines, residents in the state of Ohio dealing with the fallout of that toxic train disaster.
As weather threatens the efforts to contain pollution, the EPA says the air and water safe right now.
However, as ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports, residents are now demanding independent testing of both the water and the soil.
This morning, people in East Palestine, Ohio, bracing for a new threat stemming from the toxic crash site where a Norfolk Southern train carrying vinyl chloride derailed 2 weeks ago. Fearing heavy rain could spread contamination, officials built up dams along the crash site.
All families need to know that they are safe.
The slow-moving chemical plume from a controlled burn at the site is expected to drift into West Virginia today, but the EPA says the contaminants are well below the 560 parts per billion that the CDC considers hazardous.
The state of Ohio and EPA are working hand in hand, and if we say that the water is safe and the air is safe, we believe it because we've tested it and the data shows it.
But residents say they're skeptical and scared by mixed messages on water and air safety in the last 2 weeks. Some reporting sore throats, vomiting, and other symptoms.
That train derailment happened just back there. And you look here, this is one of those gas monitors. And on the screen, it's zeros across the board. But you talk to residents in this neighborhood and they'll tell you that if you spend an extended amount of time here, you're going to feel something.
You don't bring families back with their kids and their loved ones and then tell them to scrub with Dawn?
Ohio's governor now calling for additional resources from the federal government, HHS and CDC crews now deploying. Meanwhile, in Michigan yesterday, another Norfolk Southern train derailment. The company saying no one was hurt and no chemicals were spilled. The number of toxic train derailments nationwide has been declining in recent years. Rail carriers have been involved in more than 13,000 hazardous material incidents since 2002. Norfolk Southern involved in 1,530 of those incidents, more than 100 of them classified as serious, including a 2005 derailment in South Carolina that released toxic chlorine gas. 9 people were killed. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Law enforcement says the Michigan State University shooter bought the guns he used in Monday night's deadly mass shooting legally. Officers discovered 2 handguns on the suspect when they found his body. However, neither of those guns were registered. Investigators say they also found him with a 2-page note listing a series of threats against a church and a warehouse where he once worked. 3 students were killed in the shooting and 5 others are in the hospital. Of those survivors, 4 are in critical condition.
The U.S. Supreme Court is dropping the case that could determine the future of Title 42. The controversial immigration policy allows U.S. Customs and Border Patrol to turn away migrants at the border due to COVID safety concerns. However, the law expires May 11th. The High Court didn't give a reason for removing the case from its calendar. Oral arguments in the case were supposed to happen on March 1st. Right now, 37 degrees.
Still ahead, this woman faced serious health challenges and needed a triple bypass surgery. Coming up, the specialized surgery that allowed doctors to keep her heart beating during the procedure.
And Brahma's mania is starting to pick up steam ahead of the season opener this Sunday in the Alamo Dome. We'll hear from an all-female fan group doing their part to grow the fan base.
That's cool. Let's look out there with TransSky looking over at I-35 at Loop 410. No problems that I saw on those cameras earlier this morning, but we're going to be checking in with Stephen Cavazos later on.
And downtown, we're in the 40s. Further north you go, like the airport, it's about 37 degrees, and then probably seeing some upper 20s in parts of the Texas Hill Country. We'll talk to Mike Osterhage coming up. Welcome back. Can Brahma Mania sweep San Antonio? That's what the owners of the XFL are hoping when San Antonio's newest pro football team kicks off at the Alamo Dome this Sunday. The Brahmas facing off against the St. Louis Battlehawks at 2 p.m. You can watch it right here on KSAT 12. Despite our recent history with pro football, superfans R.C. Woods and Anita Parker are part of the San Antonio XFL all-female fan group called the Brahma Mamas. Anita and RC believe the star power behind the new XFL will give the league some staying power.
We have the Spurs and we have the Missions and we also have soccer, but we really need a football team. We have The Rock, we have Danny Garcia, we also have Disney, and we have really great players.
The Brahma Mamas also hope to make game day a family-friendly experience, starting with a food drive to benefit the food bank this Sunday.
Collecting blankets, toys, just whatever it can be, just having something to give back to the community.
All the action kicks off at the Alamo Dome Sunday at 2 o'clock. And as I said, you can also watch the game right here on KSAT, which I love. Post-game reaction will be during our sports part of the broadcast. Looking ahead, former professional wrestler Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will be at the Dome Sunday to see the Brahmas take the field. Johnson said Thursday on Twitter he would attend all 4 XFL games this weekend. Back in August 2020, Johnson, his business partner Danny Garcia, and Redbird Capital purchased the XFL for $15 million. You can learn more about the festivities this weekend over on KSAT.com. And as they say, for the Brahmas, horns forward. Forward. It's going to take some getting used to, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to do both.
Horns up
and forward. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, Mike, that's the one. Yep. Forward. Or mess with the bull, get the... No one? Horns. Okay, 441, 37 degrees, still early.
Yeah, coming up before 5, a new heart surgery that keeps your most important muscle working while it's being repaired. We're going to explain in just moments.
Tesla's recalling over 300,000 vehicles trying to avoid a self-driving car accident. That's next in your GMA First Look.
Welcome back. It's 4:44. This morning, Tesla has recalled over 360,000 vehicles due to a self-driving software issue that can cause an accident. ABC's Gio Benitez has the details in today's GMA First Look.
This morning's GMA First Look, new details on that massive Tesla recall. More than 360,000 Teslas recalled over concerns that its self-driving beta software can increase the risk of a crash. NHTSA, which regulates road safety, saying the software allows a vehicle to exceed speed limits or travel through intersections in an unlawful or unpredictable manner. You'll remember the woman caught on camera earlier this month, apparently asleep at the wheel of a Tesla on a California highway.
Look at how dangerous that is. You guys.
Officials say these 2019 photos show the aftermath of a crash on a Connecticut highway involving a Tesla in autopilot mode. Tesla is currently under a Justice Department investigation over claims that its cars can drive themselves. It's all coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Gio Benitez, ABC News, New York.
This morning, imagine having heart surgery, even performing heart surgery while the heart is still beating.
Coronary bypass surgery is the most common heart surgery in the U.S. It improves blood flow to the heart, bypassing arteries clogged with plaque.
Ursula Perry shows us a new specialized way this surgery is being performed, which keeps the heart beating during the entire procedure.
For New York artist Yvilish Boucher, putting brush to paper last year was cathartic and very personal. Boucher began painting safari-themed pictures after hearing the wonderful news from her son and his fiancée.
They were expecting a baby.
It also compelled the 61-year-old to make a life-altering decision.
I got to be able to run around and chase this little guy.
Boucher was facing some serious health issues. She had type 2 diabetes, a previously undetected stroke left her weak on one side. She had heart disease and learned she needed a triple bypass. Cardiac expert Dr. John Puskas recommended a highly specialized surgery using arteries instead of veins. And unlike other bypass procedures, surgeons did not stop the heart.
Instead of attaching arteries or veins to the aorta, we actually leave them with their own normal inflow.
Dr. Puskas removed an artery from Boucher's wrist and performed the bypass. Surgeons also surgically repositioned 2 internal arteries to improve blood flow. Dr. Puskas says arterial graft and off-pump surgery leads to a shorter recovery and better outcomes. Finally, the moment Boucher had been waiting for.
I did a little peekaboo thing with him, and he gave me my first smile.
Boucher is recovering and spending time with little Esra and feeling better than ever.
During traditional coronal bypass surgery, there is a 2% risk you'll have a stroke during the procedure. But with this arterial graft, no touch technique, that risk factor goes down to 1/4%. Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
Let's look out there with TransGuide earlier. Not too many problems on the roadway. Things are moving. There's Highway 90 at Meadow Creek.
Have a feeling Mike's not going to be shocked if some places in the Texas Hill Country reach the upper 20s this morning.
Well, we've already got some freezing readings out there. Now, the one thing that keeps it from getting as cold as what it could, as I was talking about, is the wind.
The breeze, yeah.
Because it keeps the air stirred up, and because the coldest air is the heaviest, and that settles down at the surface. But no matter how you slice it, though, it's really cold out there because then you have a wind chill to deal with. So needless to say, bundle up, and you may want to start the vehicle and get it warmed up a little bit so you don't slide in on those seats and hit a high note.
Our friend Oscar Carrero taking more fabulous pictures here.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
Really, really pretty. We had a lot of clouds hanging around yesterday, and enough to, give us that beautiful sunset. And yes, even chilly sunsets warm the heart. Thank you very much for that one. And it's going to be a beautiful sunrise this morning. We got a lot of clear skies out there. Really can't see it in this vantage point too well, but 38 at the airport, Port SA, and over there at Randolph, freezing. Kerrville, Lost Maples now at 30. So in your backyard out in portions of the hill country, you may well be down in the 20s as of right now. And we've got bone dry air, clear skies. So 2 of the 3 ingredients to give us good radiational cooling. The one ingredient we don't have is no wind out there. Now, as far as dew points, though, they have dropped down. Even it was dry yesterday morning, but have dropped down 10, 15, 25. It is 51 degrees lower for the dew point than what it was at this time yesterday in Beeville. Still had a lot of humidity out there, but that's how much drier the air is. Back to the radiational cooling, the one thing we don't have, though, is no wind. 10, 15, 20 mile per hour winds, still gusting to 28 right now at New Braunfels. It's going to be windier this morning, and then the wind is going to settle just a little bit as we go into later on this afternoon. Here's the wind chills: 23 Kerrville, 22 Los Maples, 24 Bernie Stage, and 30 out there at the airport as well as at Randolph. Clear skies, and we'll bottom out at 35 this morning, so just above freezing, but again, it's going to feel like it's much colder than that with that wind out there. The wind will ease somewhat, and we are going to make it up to the mid and upper 40s today at noon, so not a heat wave by any stretch. 55 for a high temperature. More sunshine today. Still some of those high clouds hanging around here. A little bit of moisture, not as much as yesterday. It's slightly thinner, more of a darker shade of gray, which indicates slightly less moisture out there, but still, again, that kind of veiled sunshine at times. But that flow coming in here out of the southwest is still going to keep a lot of those high clouds around over the next couple of days. Here's the satellite picture, and there's just a few of them out there as of right now, especially down to the south, a few of those clouds. But otherwise, we've got beautiful weather in store for today. Now, we will see more clouds around tomorrow, but then leaning more toward more sunshine as we go into the first part of the week. And it's going to be hot as we go into next week, which is kind of funny to say given the fact that it's so cold right now. 47 degrees today at noon, mostly sunny skies. Again, a couple of high clouds out there, 55 high temperature. So it will still be a good anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees below normal. Tomorrow morning, not as much wind, so I think it's going to be an easier shot to get down to freezing here in town. Once again, 55. That all changes on Sunday. Not as cold in the morning, about a normal low temperature, getting up into the low 70s, upper 70s Monday, mid 80s Wednesday. There are actually some computer models that want to try and get us into the upper 80s on Wednesday and a few low 90s out there, believe it or not. Yeah, and then another front's going to kind of trim temperatures a little bit going into next week. But yeah, it's going to be hot. And once again, what you don't see on that graphic, any decent rain.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing good there for a while, but
back to closer to with the
faucets have been shut off now.
Okay, well, maybe the following time.
Hopefully so.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
451, 37 degrees.
Up next, Ant-Man is back for another full-sized adventure in theaters. We're going to have more on that in your morning spotlight.
But right now, the only job I want is being a dad.
Let the Quantumania begin. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania is in theaters this weekend, the latest big Marvel movie, and star Paul Rudd says his character, Scott Lang, just wants to chill and enjoy his newfound fame a little.
We're starting the movie. He's already saved the universe. I mean, my God, can't the guy just, like, sit and breathe for 10 minutes before he has to go up and face Kang the Conqueror?
Kang the Conqueror, played by a very buff Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, he was getting ready after this. He was going to shoot Creed, and I'm like, great, here we go. Yeah, I gotta fight you? Ooh.
Quantumania could earn over $100 million by the time President's Day weekend is over. Marvel is owned by Disney, the parent company of ABC News.
Next, American Idol.
Sunday night on ABC, American Idol returns for a brand new season of singing, hosted by Ryan Seacrest, to announce Thursday that he's leaving Live with Kelly and Ryan this spring.
And I made the decision to make this my last season as co-host with Kel here on Live with Kelly and Ryan.
And he'll be replaced by Kelly Ripa's husband, Mark Consuelos. And starting today, you'll get to go inside the imaginary world many of us have grown up with since we were kids. Super Nintendo World opens at Universal Studios Hollywood with all kinds of Super Mario Brothers rides and attractions. A similar world will open at Universal Orlando in 2025. And happy birthday, Ed Sheeran. The four-time Grammy winner is 32 today, while socialite Paris Hilton is 42. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Time now is 4:56 and 37 degrees for now.
Coming up at 5, a San Antonio family is asking for help after a husband and father is brutally attacked and left for dead. What they're saying about the Good Samaritans who stepped in.
And President Biden says the U.S. is developing new rules to track and potentially shoot down unknown aerial objects, who the White House believes is launching objects into U.S. airspace.
We'll check on TransSky. It's still very early, but some folks are on the road right now at I-10 at Probant. We'll talk to Stephen Cavazos coming up at the top of the hour. Stick around.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Property taxes are suffocating Texans. We must fix that this session. Hardworking Texans produced the largest budget surplus in Texas history. That money belongs to you, the taxpayers.
This morning on GMSA, Governor Greg Abbott laying out the plan for his third term in office. What else he focused on during his address last night, including school safety.
Plus, the case of a San Antonio police officer who shot and killed a 13-year-old boy last summer will not go to trial. Grand jury's decision and what happens next coming up.
Outside with live cam as expected. It's cold this morning, folks, for mid-February. We're down to about 37 degrees, and it could go lower than that. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, the 17th.
Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. You know, I know it was cold, but I guess because I was prepared, mentally prepared for the cold weather, it wasn't too bad. I got warmed up the car, had a heavier coat. Survived.
Same here. Same here. Mike Ostrace joins us. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Kind of mind over matter, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're ready for it. So, yeah, get ready because as we've been talking about, it is really, really cold out there. 37 degrees, and we've got bone dry air. Look at that bottom number at 18, the dew point temperature. But there's still a good breeze out there. And so what that means is we've got some wind chill to deal with. We're only going to make it to the mid-50s again today. We will have more sunshine than yesterday, but still some of those high clouds are going to be hanging on in here. And they'll be fairly pesky over the next few days. The aquifer yesterday dropped down 0.3 of a foot, and the allergens, mold, ash, and mulberry are all on the low side. We do have a couple of freezing readings around the area right now, up in portions of the hill country. 32 at Kerrville, 30. Lost Maples, 29 now in Uvalde. So, yep, we have broken that 30-degree barrier and dropped into the upper 20s well out there to the west. 34 Bernie Stage. And, of course, in your backyard, in some of those areas, you may be below freezing. Pretty good breeze still. A couple of spots don't have any wind right now, but otherwise there is a good breeze out there. Wind gusts 24 out there at the airport. Wind chill temperatures 28 at the airport right now. Kerrville 23, and no wind out there in Uvalde. And that's why it's so cold, because the coldest, heaviest air is settling down at the surface. But where you do have a breeze, obviously you got the wind chill to deal with. So once again, no matter how you slice it, it's really cold. Clear cold, windy this morning. Won't be as windy this afternoon. Mostly sunny, but still staying on the cool side in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, it's going to be a cold start. We'll hit freezing here in town, and then once again stay in the mid-50s. A few more clouds hanging around here. It's going to be warmer then on Sunday, and that's the start of a big warm-up. Warm or downright hot. We're looking at mid-80s by the middle of next week, but then the front's going to trim temperatures somewhat. Not a huge blast of cold air, but just trim those temperatures off. Any rain to be had. Details on that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Friday morning out there. Mr. Cavazos, good morning. What's going on?
Happy Friday, Mike. And like you mentioned earlier, you may want to warm up your car if you have any road plans this early in the morning, but let's get you in the know before you go. 35 at Cesar Chavez. Really not a lot going on out there. 281 at St. Mary's. We have maybe one or two folks on both the north and southbound lanes. The commute has been off to a very quiet start. We're seeing a lot of that empty road and a lot of pavements really along 35 at New Braunfels. And again, just a few folks getting their morning started early with us. And that's why we see a lot of green on the screen. No congestion just yet, but we will likely see that in probably in the next hour and a half or so. But right now you're in the clear, but be on the lookout. We still have several road closures to be aware of. And again, just places you may want to avoid if you have any travel plans. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But right now, if you plan on traveling here into the Alamo City, that journey from Bernie along I-10 eastbound looks to be about 24 minutes at this hour. 281 southbound, no need to hurry traveling in from Bulverde. It's 27 minutes. And about 26 minutes, not too awful for our friends in New Braunfels along I-35 southbound. But let's get it back here in rotation. There again, at same shot at 35 at New Braunfels Avenue. Just off to a quiet start here on this Friday morning, but we're going to enjoy the roads while we can and have an update on gas prices as well as some of those road closures that'll be coming up a little bit later on. Guys.
Thank you, Stephen. Texas Governor Greg Abbott delivered his State of the State address last night, outlining his emergency items for this legislative session. Now, speaking in a closed venue in San Marcos with invited guests only, Abbott briefly touched on issues such as cutting property taxes, ending COVID restrictions, ending revolving door bail, border security, fighting the fentanyl crisis, and school safety.
We must establish the safest standards and then use the newly created Chief of School Safety to mandate compliance with those standards. And we also need to provide more healthcare professionals in our schools. We cannot let another school year go by without making our schools safer.
Abbott emphasized that he wanted to see legislation this session that gives Texans some financial relief.
Property taxes are suffocating Texans. We must fix that this session. Hardworking Texans produced the largest budget surplus in Texas history. That money belongs to you, the taxpayers.
Abbott also spoke about ending all COVID restrictions and mandates and educational freedom to empower parents when it comes to decisions over how their children learn in school. His full address is on our website, KSAT.com.
A San Antonio family tells KSAT they are desperate for justice after their loved one was attacked and left for dead. The 80-year-old is recovering from life-threatening injuries after being carjacked. The family of Larry Brister says he went out to pick up dinner Saturday night but never came home. San Antonio police say his white Ford F-250 was stolen from him near Bitters and Walker Ranch. He suffered numerous injuries and was left for dead. Brister is currently in ICU with the hopes of moving to acute care soon and then home in hopefully 6 to 8 weeks.
It makes me sick at my stomach. We've been married 55 years and he is the kindest man. And for that to happen, I need my Larry.
Brister's wife, Sandra, isn't sure if her husband fought back or why he was beaten since Larry has no recollection of the attack. Family says nearby Good Samaritans didn't see what happened but ran to Brister's aid when they saw him on the ground. She says one of those Good Samaritans was a former Spurs player but didn't want to name him to maintain his privacy.
A San Antonio police officer who shot and killed a 13-year-old boy last year will not face charges. A Bexar County grand jury decided not to indict Officer Steven Ramos on Thursday. Now, back on June 3rd of 2022, police responded to the 5100 block of War Cloud. Now, Police Chief William McManus said the teen, AJ Hernandez, was driving a stolen car that rammed into a police vehicle. Ramos opened fire, striking Hernandez, who later died at a hospital. So now the review into the shooting is over. Another grand jury also refused to indict Ramos last July in the deadly shooting of a 57-year-old man. The man's family says he was in the midst of a mental health crisis at the time.
Time check right now on your Friday morning, 5:07, 37 degrees.
So to come, TikTok is launching a live trivia series where you can win some serious money when you can play this month. Coming up.
Outside with live cam, mid-30s here in town, colder in the hill country. But what about our weekend? I know we still have to get through Friday together, but let's go ahead and look ahead to Saturday and Sunday with Mike coming up. All right, everybody, welcome back. The Fiesta Commission and San Antonio Sports are teaming up again, preparing for another event centered on physical health and well-being.
And GMSA's Alyssa Cole. She is live from a local gym where San Antonio Sports is preparing to announce this year's Fit King and Queen.
All right, Alyssa, good morning. What can we expect coming up in April?
Yes, good morning. It is already lively here. I am at a local gym, like you mentioned, Stephanie, F45 Gym, and I'll explain why in just a bit. But let me tell you about Fiesta Fit Fest. It's an official Fiesta event. It's a 3-day festival held at the main campus of UTSA, and there will be fitness classes, there will be a cycling race, there will be a 5K, a 10K, I mean just a slew of physical activities. Now there will also be something for the children, so it's a family affair, community fair, if you will. Now there will be a health and wellness expo, live music and entertainment, but the big event that will attract thousands is the L'Étape San Antonio Tour de France. This is a major cycling event that will take place on the last day of the festival. It's a 100-mile tour, and it is open to all level of cyclists. But back to the big announcement that's underway in just about 2 hours, I would say. The team will be announcing the Fiesta Fit Fest Queen and King this year here at the F45 gym. And just a little secret, the person who owns that gym, you know, a little trivia, that just may be the king this year. But we will get a chance to talk to them later this morning about their passion for fitness and their passion for well-being for the community. So keep tuning in so we can just keep dropping gems all Good Morning America, or excuse me, Good Morning San Antonio Friday long. Back to you, Stephanie and Mark.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Time right now, 5:12, 37 degrees.
And still to come before 5:30, Quantum Mania is in full effect this weekend. How Marvel is betting big on Ant-Man's return to theaters.
And Instagram has a new feature to help people engage directly with their followers. That's next in your Morning Tech Bites.
I'm your glitchy Wi-Fi, and I've decided, well, if you're on vacation, I am too. Which means your smart home isn't so smart.
Sprinkler on.
And now I'm sending mixed signals to your garage. But if you haven't bundled your home in auto coverage, trying to unpack this isn't going to be too much fun. Hey, check the router. So get Allstate. Be better protected from mayhem while saving up to 25% when you bundle home and auto.
Densify from Crest Pro Health. Like bones, your teeth lose density over time, but Crest has you covered. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth. Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America.
Dad, you all right?
The road to college can be expensive. Luckily, Bank of America lets Dad switch his Choice Cashback category, so he earns more on gas.
With the Bank of America customized cash rewards card, you just can't stop getting rewarded.
In today's Tech Bites, a federal investigation of internet service providers. According to Bloomberg, the FCC is looking into whether providers have lied about their coverage areas. The news comes as providers are set to receive $42 billion as part of the 2021 infrastructure bill. Instagram has a new broadcast chat feature. Channels allow creators to share one-to-many messages with followers. Testing of the feature began this week. Instagram plans to add more features, including the ability to bring another creator into the channel to discuss joint projects. Finally, TikTok is launching a series of live trivia games. The games will be live streamed on the official TikTok account. Categories will include lifestyle, sports, and music, among others. A $500,000 cash pool will be split between the winners. It all starts next Wednesday. Just make sure you have an EMT worker on your trivia team. They're usually the first responder. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
Today.
Crickets.
Not today, Andrew.
Not today, buddy.
That didn't land with any of us.
No, I know, and I'm, usually I'm a game for all of it.
Try again Monday, Andrew Dumbert.
Yes.
All right, 5:17. Let's see how the commute's looking so far.
It looks great. We're off to a decent start. I'd say as we're getting ready to drive off into the weekend. I love saying that. You can see 410 at Evers says a quiet commute there, but you have to be on the lookout because, of course, we know that there are going to be several road closures taking place. More on that in just a second, but let's take a quick look around town. 281 at St. Mary's, again, off to a quiet start as the morning commute does get rolling, and that's why we are seeing a lot of green out there, but we do have a stall that's been reported along 410 westbound at Somerset Road. Now, this is not causing issues for drivers, but something to be on the lookout for as you get the commute rolling. Make sure you check your vehicles before you get out on the roadway, and as Mike will tell you, you may want to make sure that you warm up that car before you get out on the roadways. Wide look at the map doesn't really show a whole lot else out there, but I did mention we still have several road closures taking place. We've talked about 281, and work will continue on Saturday. Yeah, and we're also going to see that work continue today as well, that asphalt work. Remember, that starts at 9 in the morning. It should wrap around 3 in the afternoon. So it starts today, or ends, a portion of it ends today, but then we're going to see another portion pick up tomorrow. Expect to see alternating lane closures in both directions right there at Wilderness Oak. And hey, if you have big travel plans, scan the QR code that is now on your screen. That takes you to our KSAT traffic page. We have a full list of current closures and closures that are going to take us all the way up into the early days of March. So plan your commute ahead of time. Mike?
Thank you very much, sir. Yesterday's sunset, another gorgeous picture. Mr. McClellan over there from Woodlawn Lake, a cold and vibrant sunset. And that's the way the sunrise is going to be today. Cold and very vibrant, and then beautiful this afternoon as well. But yeah, jacket all day long. Same thing tomorrow. Then we're going to see a huge overall shift. First of all, yeah, good looking picture out there by the airport. And once the sun comes up, we will see those clear skies out there. We're now at freezing up the road, Burning Stage. Comfort, Bandera both at 33, so your backyard may be freezing. Same thing in and around Rio Medina. 37 out there at the airport, 29 Lost Maples. We've still got a pretty good breeze out there, 16-mile-per-hour winds at the airport. Not everybody is overly windy, but we still have some pretty good gusts as well. And so wind chill temperatures Just about everybody feels like they're down in the 20s right now. Wind chill is 24 at Kerrville, 21 right now at Lost Maples. Needless to say, like Stephen was just saying, warm up the car this morning. Temperatures, because of the wind out there, we will only drop down a few more degrees here in town, bottoming out at 35. But still, obviously, it's going to feel a lot colder than that. Not a huge warm up throughout the day. We will make it to the mid to upper 40s at noon. Top off at 55. I think we'll have less in the way of clouds. Still some of those high clouds out there, but a lot more sunshine than what we had yesterday. But still, it's not going to warm us up. Still anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees below normal. The dry air is going to remain in place today and tomorrow. Then it starts to work its way back in here somewhat Sunday, and it really comes back in Monday, Tuesday. Now, this model does have some drier air trying to come on in here on Wednesday. There is a front which is going to move on through here, but still we're going to be very, very warm on Wednesday. We will start to see some of the dry air coming on in here. Then a cool front comes in, but notice how it's not really all that much. It's not below normal by any stretch, but at least it will be almost 10 degrees cooler than what it is on Wednesday. Wednesday, we are going to be anywhere from 15 to almost 20 degrees above normal. Some folks, especially off to the west and southwest, by Wednesday, may be getting in the upper 80s and even some low 90s. Low temperatures tomorrow. We're going to be freezing, chilly on Sunday, and then here comes the warm air moving back on in here, and we'll finally have somewhat cool down by the end of the week, but no big blasts of cold air after we get done with the cold air that's in place right now. 47 degrees today at noon, mostly sunny skies. High temperature today makes it up to 55. That's it. Normal high is upper 60s this time of year. Tomorrow we are going to be starting off at freezing. We're not going to have as much of a breeze overnight and still some clear skies and that dry air. And then once again, only 55. More clouds hanging around here tomorrow. A lot of those high clouds are going to sort of thicken up somewhat. 72 Sunday, upper 70s. Starting off on Monday for President's Day, a long holiday weekend for a lot of folks, and then mid 80s by the middle of the week, and those temperatures will be trimmed somewhat by the end of the week.
I keep forgetting it's a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
3-day weekend. Are you guys taking Monday off?
I'll be here.
You'll be here?
She's off.
You're off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stephen, you're here. Okay. All right. 3 out of 4. Not bad. 521, 36 degrees.
Up next, if you thought you knew Tetris, we're going to have a first look at the new movie involving the iconic game and its mysterious beginning in the Soviet Union.
And here are your lottery numbers this morning. Pick 3, 880, Fireball 7. Daily 4 numbers 1031, Fireball 6.
Cash 5, 2, 3, 7, 11, 26. Your text is two-step 2, 4, 10, 16. Bonus ball 23.
This morning, theaters around the globe are getting ready for Marvel's Ant-Man 3.
And a movie about a game you've probably played with a history you may not know about.
David Daniels got the scoop in today's Hollywood Minute.
I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want.
The new Ant-Man movie is looking for a big opening weekend. The forecast website Box Office Pro predicts Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania will be the first Ant-Man movie to debut with more than $100 million in North American ticket sales. It's the first Marvel movie to hit theaters since Black Panther: Wakanda Forever in November.
It's poetry, art, and math all working in magical synchronicity. It's the perfect game. Tetris?
Tetris. 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 I don't get it.
If you thought you knew Tetris, think again. Here's a look at the first trailer for the movie Tetris, a Cold War spy thriller starring Taron Egerton. He plays an entrepreneur obsessed with the game who travels to the Soviet Union to acquire the rights to what he's sure will be a sales blockbuster. Sorry. Tetris debuts on Apple TV Plus on March 31st. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That looks good, and
Yeah.
Taron Egerton's really good too.
Yeah, it's neat looking back at the game as well.
We know him from The Kingsman. 526, 36 degrees.
And coming up at 5:30, people in Ohio are bracing for a new threat after a toxic train crash 2 weeks ago. What the feds are doing right now to slow the spread of contamination.
Plus another remarkable rescue in Turkey after recovery teams find a woman alive over a week after the deadly earthquake.
And one of the largest food companies in the world raising their prices again. Why? They say raising those prices last year didn't work.
And ahead on GMSA at 6, a high school student who dreamed of enlisting in the U.S. Marines was top 3 of his class, suffered a traumatic brain injury that turned his life upside down. We'll hear about his recovery and the message he has for his community. Outside with live cam this morning, looking pretty good out there. Beautiful shot of downtown San Antonio as we get ready for some action in the Alamo Dome this weekend, the debut game of the San Antonio Brahmas of the XFL.
And by Sunday, it shouldn't be that cold. Good morning.
No, it won't be that cold.
Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, February 17th.
Thanks for joining us. But for now, we do have to deal with those temperatures.
Yeah, and one thing you noticed in that picture of the skyline, you could really see all the lights in a really distinct look. So that's because we have bone dry air in place, not a lot of humidity at all. And that, combined with some other factors, is what's helping temperatures to get really, really cold out there. We have got clear skies. You can see, looks like off in the distance, an airplane maybe just taking off there, or probably taking off from this vantage point. 37 at the airport, 18 is the dew point, which means bone dry air, like I said. Wind is out of the north at 16 miles per hour, and we've still got a good breeze in a lot of spots. Temperatures right now, freezing out in the hill country, heading out I-10, 33 in Bandera. Your backyard's probably freezing. Same thing in and around Bulverde. 37, like I said, at the airport, New Braunfels, Canyon Lake, and Port SA. Wind out of the north, 15 miles per hour. Still got some pretty good wind gusts, though. 24 at the airport, 23 in New Braunfels. So wind chill temperatures in a lot of spots. Look at that, low 20s. Lost Maples 21, 28 at the airport, Bulverde, and then also at Port SA, Seguin, it feels like 28 degrees. Mold, Ash, Mulberry are all on the low side. Updated count comes out in a couple of hours. 47 at noon, 55 for high temperature. Gorgeous day, more sunshine, still some of those high clouds, more sunshine than yesterday. It won't be as windy later on today, but still staying on the chilly side. Very cold again tomorrow morning, staying cool. Then the warm-up begins, and it's going to get downright hot by the middle of next week. Details in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, any problems out there on this Friday?
Not yet, Mike. We did have a stalled vehicle along Loop 410 near Somerset. That's already cleared out, so let's not worry about that anymore. But make sure you check your vehicles before you get the morning commute rolling there. US 90 at 35, that shot will get very busy, probably in the next hour or so. But I would say right now, you essentially have the roads to yourself in certain areas of town. Check out US 90 at Medio Creek. We see a lot more folks getting their way out on the roadway this morning, and that will continue as we get the commute rolling. But let's get you to the map. Thankfully, we are not seeing any slowdowns. We are not seeing any incidents that are going to slow you down as we get the morning rolling here. But we still have several road closures taking place. And of course, we'll have an update on gas prices a little bit later on. But for right now, let's check out those travel times, because if you plan on traveling into the Alamo City this early in the morning, it's still pretty pleasant along I-37 northbound from Pleasanton. 28 minutes at this hour, and it's the usual drive time if you're heading down from Castroville along US 90 eastbound. 30 minutes is what you can expect, and that arrival from Lytle should be within about 16 minutes or so along I-35 northbound. So again, things look pretty normal for right now, but we will see the commute pick up a little bit more as the morning commute does get rolling there. 10 at Probant, the roads are quiet for now, but we will have an update on some of those road closures. And hey, gas prices, always good to know what you can expect before you head to the pump. That'll be coming up a little later on. Guys.
Hey, Stephen. Police say they tried to run but couldn't get away. Officers managed to chase down 2 suspects in a stolen car, but their work is not finished yet. Katrina Weber is live downtown near Jackson and Elmira Streets, where there's still a search going on. Good morning, Katrina.
Good morning. Yeah, police have been searching this area for a piece of evidence connected to this case. They say an important piece of evidence. But right now they also are processing that car, which they say came back as stolen. This is actually right in the parking lot, right next door to the Salvation Army, if you're familiar with this area off Elmira Street. We could see San Pedro in the distance. But we do have a CSI agent going through that car, which they say was stolen. Now, this started a little bit before 5 o'clock this morning. Let me give you a look at the video so you can see how police was saturating this area. They say that they had pulled over that car because it came back as stolen. Once they got it stopped, 2 people who were inside took off running. Officers had to chase them on foot. They ran all around this area, but then ended up catching them just about a block away, not even a block away. They did take 2 people into custody. Police say they put up a bit of a struggle, so they did have to have at least one of those suspects checked out. The officer who was chasing them also had to be checked out because it seems that he injured his knee. Now, while police were doing their search and investigating, they brought in one of their canine units. They say that a dog in the neighborhood then went after their canine, so they had to use a taser on that dog from the neighborhood to stop it from attacking that canine officer. As far as we know, though, no one had to go to the hospital. Police, the officer was checked out here as well as one of the suspects, and they were taken into custody. So again, that search does continue as far as we know in this area for, they say a piece of evidence connected to this whole thing. Reporting live downtown, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. Just about 5:35 happening today. San Antonio sports preparing to kick off their annual Fiesta Fit Fest, a Fiesta event focused on well-being.
GMSA's Alyssa Cole joins us live from a local gym. And Alyssa, where are you exactly and how does this tie in with the kickoff?
Yes, that's a great question. Good morning. I'm here at F45 Gym. You can hear how alive it is and how excited everyone is this morning. But this is the location where the Fiesta Fit team, they will be announcing this year's King and Queen. Now, the King and Queen is the grand marshals, if you will, of this year's festival. And for those of you who may not know what Fiesta Fit Fest is, it's a 3-day event. It will be held at UTSA's main campus between April 14th and the 16th. There will be a cycling race, a variety of fitness classes, 5K, 10K, and a slew of other activities for children and adults alike, including a health and wellness expo, live music, and entertainment. But the big event that will attract thousands is the L'Etape San Antonio Tour de France. This is a major cycling event that will take place on the last day of the festival. It's a 100-mile tour out in the beautiful rolling hills of the hill country, and it will be open to all levels of cyclists. Now, the registration for the event, that's already open. We'll have that information on our website, and we'll tell you how and when you can register in our next half hour when we talk to the Fiesta Fit team live during an interview at 6 o'clock. But stay tuned, because during the 6 o'clock hour is when they'll announce the King and Queen, and you don't want to miss that. Reporting live at F45 Gym, Melissa Cole, KSAT 12 News.
In your morning headlines, President Biden says 3 unidentified flying objects shot down after that Chinese spy balloon flew across the country were neither spying on the U.S. nor sent from another country. The president says going forward, the U.S. will be keeping better track of unmanned airborne objects and is updating rules for launching unmanned aircraft. Biden also said there's no evidence of a sudden increase in the number of objects in the sky. He says they are only being detected now because of tweaks to radar systems.
In New York, John F. Kennedy Airport's International Terminal remained shut down overnight. It comes after electrical issues disrupted flights on Thursday. Now, one outage was caused by an electrical panel failure, resulting in a small isolated fire overnight. Authorities say the fire was immediately extinguished. In the meantime, other terminals are being used to accommodate flights. The Port Authority is working to restore power.
And a woman who's buried in the rubble from major earthquakes in Turkey that devastated parts of that country and neighboring Syria was rescued after 258 hours. That's just under 11 days, folks. The 30-year-old and her family used to live on the 7th floor of an apartment complex. Her family said they'd already prepared her grave before she was miraculously found alive.
Amazing. Time now 5:37 and 36 degrees for now.
Just ahead, Nestle is raising prices across 2,000 brands. What this could mean for other food companies.
And another train is derailed, this time in Michigan, with toxic chemicals. We're going to have what's going on after the break.
Back here at home outside with live cam, dropping down by 1 degree in the last hour, down to 36 at San Antonio International Airport on your Friday heading into President's Day weekend. 5:41 today marks 2 weeks since the Norfolk Southern train carrying toxic chemicals derailed in the state of Ohio.
The EPA is saying it's going to hold the company responsible as another one of its trains carrying dangerous matter has derailed, this time in Michigan.
CNN's John Lawrence explains.
Watch this. Just see that chemical pop out of the creek This is disgusting.
While the Environmental Protection Agency is focused on cleaning up the chemicals spilled from the recent train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio,
the federal government will be here for as long as it takes. The president has called the governor and offered the federal assistance that he needs.
Frustrations are escalating among some local residents.
Are my kids safe? Are the people safe? Is the future of this community safe?
I have gases from that creek in my home.
Surveillance videos obtained by CNN show sparks along the tracks at least 43 minutes before the fateful derailment, possibly caused by an apparent overheated wheel bearing, which is now under a National Transportation Safety Board investigation. And as the probe into the East Palestine accident rolls onward,
it shook our building, it was serious when that happened.
Another Norfolk Southern train derailed, this time in Van Buren Township, Michigan, and hazardous materials were once again involved.
One car that had chlorine, liquid chlorine on it, it was on the unaffected side of the derailment, so it was on the track, was never affected, and no damage to it.
Thursday's accident caused a few traffic headaches in the area, but no injuries were reported. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
In your morning consumer headlines, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York reports Americans are borrowing more money despite sky-high interest rates. The report says household debt hit $16.9 trillion in the last 3 months. Most of it is in the form of mortgages. Now, the high debt has more Americans defaulting on their payments, which could hurt the U.S. economy down the road.
Meanwhile, the world's largest food company says it is raising prices again. Nestle says many of its 2,000 brands will get more expensive this year. Nestle admits the high prices can drive shoppers away, like when sales dropped in the second half of last year. However, competing food companies are also planning to raise prices this year.
And Tesla is recalling all of its vehicles equipped with what the company calls full self-driving. The recall affects nearly 363,000 vehicles. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the full self-driving feature can cause the vehicle to violate traffic laws in certain rare circumstances. Now, Tesla will attempt to fix the problem through a software update.
543, 36 degrees.
Let's look out there with TransGuide. Looking over at I-37 at Hackberry, where things are moving this morning. Not too bad for Friday. And also, this is usually a trouble spot, but right now, Highway 90, it's moving. We'll be right back.
Time check 546 on your Friday morning.
Let's go ahead and check back with Stephen Cavazos.
Well, if you are off to go grab a coffee, make sure that you are warming up your car before you head out there, and probably a warm cup will be best today. Let's get a quick look around town. You can see things are still pretty quiet right now, so nothing's really going to slow you down. 281 at Sprucewood, again, both those north and southbound lanes don't look too bad, and 35 at New Braunfels. Maybe a few more folks getting their morning started early with us, but thankfully, as we get you to the map, the only issues we have right now that I'm starting to see are stalls. I-10 westbound at Vance Jackson Road is one of those stalls. Now, it's not causing any issues, but be on the lookout. And as always, I like to say it, check those vehicles before you get out on the roadway. It does appear a crash may have popped up somewhere off of 410. It doesn't really seem to be impacting the main lanes of traffic, but we'll find out what's going on there. And maybe our friends at TransGuide could get us a shot of the conditions. But as promised, let's take a look at those gas prices according to AAA, because as of today, things have stayed pretty steady, and that's across the board here. That average gas price in Bexar County looks to be about $2.98. Around the state, we're looking at $3.02, and around the country, $3.42. And as I mentioned, things have pretty much stayed steady, at least for the last week, and AAA reports that that is likely due to less demand, but we will likely see that probably go up, especially when we approach spring break, because a lot of people will travel for that time. But as of right now, things are pretty steady also out on the roadways, guys.
Yes, they are. Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
Too bad.
Cold this morning, cold first part of the weekend, and then huge warm up going into next week. So temperatures, the high temperatures are going to be almost 30 degrees warmer by the middle of next week than what they will be today.
I'm sure my thermostat sees me coming now, and is there fresh fingerprints from changing from hot to cold, a hot to cold, you know what I mean?
Well, at least both systems are getting a nice workout.
They are.
That's true.
Also, and with, furnaces running a little bit more, AC and all that stuff, don't forget to change the filters. That's something you need to do. All right, take a look at this picture. This is a beautiful shot here. My grandson's first view of the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, wow. Put that in a picture frame.
California.
That's
beautiful.
Not just a great picture. That's a memory.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that is. Great shot. Love that. Thank you very much for that. Hope you enjoyed your trip over there to California. All right, clear sky. It's going to be a gorgeous sunrise this morning. Heavy coat and sunglasses. You need both of them pretty much all day long. 37 in town, freezing out in the hill country, and then mid-30s. Stinson still is holding at 40, and we've got a pretty good breeze still. And so this is doing a couple of things, keeping temperatures from getting as cold as what they could get here in town. We've got a wind gust to 24, 23 there at Port SA as well as in New Braunfels. So we have wind chill temperatures. Now, the wind keeps the air stirred up a little bit, so it prevents the heaviest, coldest air from settling to the surface. But then on the flip side of that, with the wind, you get a wind chill. So again, no matter how you slice it, it is cold out there. It feels like 21 at Lost Maples, 24 at Bernie Stage as of right now. And temperatures, we will bottom out at 35 here in town. Maybe 1 or 2 clouds out there, but a good looking sunrise. And we'll still keep a few of those high clouds around throughout the day. Make it into the mid to upper 40s today at noon and then top off at 55. I think more sunshine than what we had yesterday, but still very chilly. And it's not going to be as breezy this afternoon as what it is, but still with temperatures in the mid 50s and a little breeze, kind of a nip to the air. It is going to be very cold again tomorrow thanks to this very dry air. And then the humidity really starts to come back up. And by late Sunday, Monday, dew points are going to be about double of what they are or even more so. So we're going to be noticing the humidity more by the first to middle part of next week. And this model wants to bring in some drier air by the middle of next week, which, yes, it will start to come on in here. That in turn is going to help temperatures to really heat up. So here's what's going on. We've got the surge of cooler air coming on in, and that will stick around for the next couple of days. Then that low out there to the southwest of us starts to help to pump in a little more heat, and it also keeps some of those high clouds coming in here from the Pacific Ocean. That thing's going to become a cutoff low, so it just sort of, they have a mind of their own. It's going to be kind of absorbed by the upper level steering winds, but that will throw a few more clouds in here. Little disturbance may give us a sprinkle early on Wednesday, and then the hope is that even though we still have these upper level winds coming in here out of the southwest, we'll get a little bit of shot of some drier, cooler air coming in here. Not cold, but just not as hot, I guess is the best way to put it, by the end of next week. So forecast today, first of all, no question about this. It's cold out there and it's going to be staying cool throughout the day. 47 degrees at noon, mostly sunny skies. High temperature makes it up to 55. So we'll still be 10, 12 so degrees below normal. Tomorrow we start off freezing, get up to 55 again. A few more clouds around tomorrow. Then Sunday, not as chilly in the morning, still jacket weather if you're heading out to early church services, up to 72 in the afternoon, upper 70s Monday, and then mid 80s on Wednesday. So again, 30 degrees warmer for the high Wednesday compared to today and tomorrow. And another front just going to trim temperatures slightly, but still well above normal by Thursdays.
Well, at least we have a little bit of everything, but I know you probably prefer this weekend and not the 80s coming up.
Well, especially in mid-February.
I understand.
It's cool, around here. Be nice to get some rain, though.
Yes.
It would.
That's the problem with this, the next week. Nothing really.
All right, we'll wait. Thank you, Mike.
552, 36 degrees.
And just ahead, the Briscoe Western Art Museum is hosting a special presentation and exhibit in observance of Black History Month. We're going to tell you all about it after the break.
Here are your lottery numbers this morning. Pick 3, 880, Fireball 7, Daily 4, 1031, Fireball 6.
Cash 5, 2, 3, 7, 11, 26. And your Texas two-step, 2, 4, 10, 16, bonus ball 23. Good luck.
Good morning. Coming up, we're following the latest on some breaking news. A community that is on edge after 2 men were shot leaving synagogues in California. We're going to tell you what we learned about the suspect, the investigation into those hate crimes, and how police are stepping up security. And then this incredible video of a young woman fighting off a man who attacked her while she was working out. What she says about the frightening incident this morning. And with credit card debt soaring to a record high, how you can help get your bills under control. Plus, don't miss the grand finale of our United States of Pizza competition. Grab a slice right here on GMA.
Happening tomorrow, the Briscoe Western Art Museum is hosting a special presentation exhibit in observance of Black History Month. Families are encouraged to come out here and see how Buffalo soldiers of Bexar County impacted Texas and American history. The presentation will be given by members of the Bexar County Buffalo Soldiers Association. Then right after that, you have a chance to see some artifacts up close. Event starts at 2 tomorrow. For more information on admission, you can go to our website at KSAT.com. Ahead in the next hour, GMSA, Democratic Senator John Fetterman hospitalized for clinical depression, what doctors are ruling out, and reaction from friends and family. New funding headed to violence intervention programs, what the Department of Justice is saying about programs and what effects this will have on communities who participate in them. Plus, the U.S. and our allies now shifting to a long-term approach to provide Ukraine with military supplies. Why officials are saying it's time to look at what they will need in the future. And checking TransGuide, we have an incident right now involving a disabled vehicle. This is eastbound Highway 90 at General McMullen. The good news, there is a wrecker on the scene, and we believe a Hero truck blocking it right behind that.